Hello dear students. Today in the earlier classes we have already discussed the three coordinates of the coordinate system, that is Cartesian coordinate system, cylindrical coordinate system and spherical coordinate system. Now today we shall discuss the differential elements in the length, area and volume that is useful, and one by one, sir, we are going to start uh, to discuss the differential elements in the length, area and volume for each coordinate systems separately. Okay, so starting with so starting with starting with the Cartesian coordinates. Starting with the Cartesian coordinates, so the differential displacement. So I would like to recall the Cartesian coordinates. The Cartesian coordinates in three-dimensional space is x, y, and z. Okay. So obviously, if we talk about the differential element, so the differential element in x will be dx, in y it is dy, and for z it is dz. Okay. So if I write a vector a in Cartesian coordinate system, so how do we write? We write it as x unit vector ax plus y unit vector ay along the y direction and respectively, and z with unit vector az obviously in the z direction. So this is some vector which can be represented in Cartesian coordinates. Okay, now if I want the differential displacement, okay, these are the position elements x, y and z. These are the position vectors, you can say. Okay, now if I talk about the differential displacement in a, okay, so the the differential displacement displacement in A. Okay, the differential displacement in A will be represented as how much? dA. Okay, so this will be represented by dA, and obviously the x, y and z can also be represented like dx in the direction of ax unit vector along it, and dy ay, and similarly dz az. So in this way we can represent the differential element differential displacement in A. Okay, so this is fine. Now we have to see the corresponding differential elements in area and volume as well. Okay, so now I'll try to make you understand with the three dimensional figure. So let's say in three dimensions we have the three axes. Right from the beginning we have been in the practice of drawing the figures like this, so it is very easy for you to understand. So this can be named as x-axis, this one is your y-axis, and this one is your z-axis. So by naming them we can write it as this is x-axis, and this one is your y-axis, and this is your z-axis. Okay, now if any point is represented, let's say any p point is represented, and the coordinates of p points are again x, y and z. Okay, the coordinates of p point are x, y and z. Okay, so now now let's say if x is there, y is there or z is there, so we will have the incremental, okay, differential displacement if I want to represent in this x, y and z. So obviously how it can be represented? So anything parallel to this. Okay, so let me represent it first. So parallel to the x-axis, parallel to this x-axis, okay, this will be the displacement along x. Okay, now parallel to the y-axis we can have the displacement differential element like this, and similarly parallel to the z we can have the element like this. Okay, fine. So if I want to, these are the differential elements. So suppose the increments in x, that is dx, can be represented some element parallel to x-axis. For representing this displacement along y, we can have this parallel to y-axis, and for displacement in z at dz we can have this parallel to z, so dz. Okay, so in this way we can represent this dx, dy and dz. Okay, now if I complete this shape, okay, if I complete this shape, then we can have some figure. We can have some figure like this. Okay, we can have some figure like this, and then I will join this also, so that it will take the perfect shape of a cuboid. Okay, now what can be seen here, it has taken the shape of a perfect cuboid. Okay, so naming it, you, now this part is your dx. Okay, this part is your dy, and this part is your dz. Okay, fine. So in this way the sides parallel to this dx, this will also represent dx, this will also represent dx, and this will also represent dx. So in the 12 edges we can have this dx, 4 dx, 4 dy and 4 dz. Okay, so if I talk about the elemental surface now, differential element in the surface, so differential normal area, the differential normal area, the differential normal area can be written as, obviously if I represent the area with s, then differential normal area can be represented as ds. So ds equal to how much? See, ds equal to, if I take any of the side, okay, the area of any side can be represented as length and breadth. Okay, so if I represent any of the sides, the three unique sides are given by dy dz, dy and dz. Okay, and the direction vector will be the normal to this surface. Okay, so dy and dz, if I am taking, let's say if I am taking this any area which is made by dy as length and dz at width. Okay, so the area is given by length into width. So for representing any side whose length is dy and breadth is dz, then let's say I am talking of this particular area, this length is dy and this width is dz. So obviously we are talking of which area? We are talking of this area. Okay, so this area, the direction will be what? The unit vector normal to this area. the unit vector normal to this area. So what will be the unit vector normal to this area? This will be along x direction. So the unit vector will be what? The unit vector in this case will be ax. Okay. Now again we can have the different dimension also. Let's say if I form the area with dx and dz. So similarly, length into breadth is the area, and the direction of unit vector normal to this surface will be your y. And the third one, that is dz and dy. Sorry, here it is dx and dy, and the direction will be along the z-axis. Okay, so in this way we can represent the area. And if we want to represent the differential volume, so the differential volume is very easy. Differential volume means how do we determine the volume of a cuboid? It is length into breadth into height. So similarly, if I consider the length as dx, width as dy, and height as dz, so differential volume can be written as this dx, dy, and dz. Okay, so let's say it is your dv. So dv equal to dx, dy, and dz. Okay, so in this way we can represent the differential volume. Now we will proceed further to see the differential elements in the next coordinate system, that is cylindrical coordinate system. Now to see the differential displacements or differential elements in cylindrical coordinates, we will recall the figure that we have studied while we were studying the cylindrical coordinates. So we have to study the second type, that is cylindrical coordinates. Okay, so let us recall the diagram, and then it would be easier for us to understand the differential elements in cylindrical coordinate system. Okay, so like earlier, we will draw the three axes, that is one is x, another one is y, and the third one is z axis. Okay, because right from the beginning we have studied everything with respect to the x, y, and z axis. Okay, so we will name the axis, that is it is x, this one is y, and this one is z. Okay, now let us locate a point, and this there is a p point. Okay, before that we will recall the cylindrical coordinates. The cylindrical coordinates were rho, phi, and z. Okay, what was rho? Rho was the perpendicular distance of the point from the z-axis, that was rho vector. Okay, then we were taking the projection of it on the xy plane, and the angle made by that projection with the x-axis, that was your azimuthal angle, and that was your phi, and this distance or height is the z. So in this way the three coordinates in cylindrical coordinate system were defined. So let us let's say we have this rho vector. Now we are taking its projection on the xy plane, so it can be drawn like this. Okay, and This angle is your phi. Now we will rotate this vector. Before rotating, now I can draw it like this. So the vector rho can be represented by this line segment, and this is your angle, that is phi, made by this projection on xy plane with the x-axis. This is your phi, and this particular part is your z. So this part is your z. So in this way, three coordinates are represented for this P point. Okay, fine. Now let me show the differential parts here. So how can we show the differential parts? Okay, so let's say we have one another differential element, which is the increment, a small increment in this row vector. We have made some small increment in the row vector. Okay, let me draw it very clearly. We have made some increment in the row vector. Okay, now there should be some increment in this phi also. So up to here it was phi. Now we have made some small increment in this phi. Okay, and this can be written as your d phi. This is your d phi. Okay, and this small increment we have done, this is your d rho. Okay, and there will be some small increment in z also. Okay, so there will be some small increment in z also, so that can be made like by by increasing this one. Okay, now one surface will be made with all these increments. Okay, so one surface I am trying to show you here. So this is one surface which can be made. Okay, okay, we will try to understand how. Now we will try to understand what is the differential element in displacement. So differential displacement. So the differential displacement can be represented as dl equals to, like we represented in the Cartesian coordinate system, d rho a rho plus d phi a phi plus dz az, but here it will be rho d phi. Okay, so it is d rho a rho, rho d phi a phi, and dz az. Why it is not only d phi and rho d phi, that I will discuss. Let's say we have one sector, okay, and this is your theta, and this one is your length, and this is your radius. Okay, so what do we write? Theta equals to what do we write? L upon r. So from here L equals to how much? L equals to r into theta. So if it is d theta, then obviously here it also d theta, and here also it will be d theta. So here also it will be your r d theta. Okay, so in this way we can represent L. So here also you see this is your curve. Okay, this part this part this part is how much? This is your rho. Okay, and this part is your d phi. So this part can be written as how much? Rho d phi. Okay, that's why here it is rho d phi and a phi. Okay, now we will discuss the differential area. Okay, so your differential area is given by ds. Okay, and now as we discussed in the Cartesian coordinate system, it is also some sort of cuboid, you can say, but this part is a curvature part. Okay, so now if I talk about this, then how many unique surfaces can be seen here? We can see here three unique surfaces. Fine. So first one is your this one, rho d phi, and this dz. Okay, this part is your dz. Okay, this part is your dz part. Okay, so now you can see one surface area will be this rho d phi and this dz, rho d phi and dz. Okay, and that will be the direction will be normal to the surface, and so it will be along the rho direction. Okay, so first part will be your rho d phi and dz, and the direction will be along a rho. Second will be what? Simply d rho dz. Okay, and the direction will be along phi. And third will be your rho d phi and d rho. Okay, so and the direction will be h. So these are the three unique surfaces. Okay, however we have six surfaces, but one surface that is parallel to another. So we have these three unique surfaces. So we can represent the differential area in this, and differential volume in cylindrical coordinates can be represented as similarly. Differential volume can be represented as dV equals to this multiplication of this rho d phi, okay, this dz and this d rho. Okay, so it is rho d rho d phi and dz. So this is the differential volume in cylindrical coordinate system. Fine. So in this way we can represent the differential elements in Cartesian and cylindrical coordinates. Fine. Now the differential elements in a spherical coordinate system we will discuss in the next class.